If you've watched any of our videos, you know that Rachel and I, we don't have the greatest communication when it comes to backing the RV into a spot. Rachel kind of freaks out a little bit and thinks we're going to get a little bit too close, so I rely heavily on having that rear camera. So today, we're going to be installing a new rear camera on our Alliance Delta 294 RK. Hey, my name is Joe and I'm one half of Two Crazy Campers, and after losing a combined weight of more than 200 pounds, we discovered we had so much more energy for activities. Come along with us as we explore the great outdoors and join us on a brand new adventure. So when it comes to RVing, one of the things that I think is extremely important to have is a rear camera. Whether you're in a motorhome, a travel trailer, or a fifth wheel, I think it's super important to have a camera behind you so you can see what's going on for a lot of different reasons. Number one, as you're driving down the road, it's nice to see if there's anybody directly behind you, but it's also nice to be able to have that view back there so that if you want to change lanes, you can look in that rear camera, that rear view mirror, so to say, and see, is there somebody trying to sneak up that you can't see in your side view mirror? Maybe they're speeding really quickly. It's also nice if you see a tractor trailer coming so that you can prepare for that little bit of push that a tractor trailer may give you as you're driving down the road. But for me, the reason that I really enjoy having a backup camera is for the actual backing up. I like knowing what's back there as I'm backing up. Number one, I don't want to hit a person or a thing, but it also really helps when it comes to backing into sites. If you've watched any of our videos, you know that Rachel and I, we don't have the greatest communication when it comes to backing the RV into a spot. Rachel kind of freaks out a little bit and thinks we're going to get a little bit too close, so I rely heavily on having that rear camera. So today, we're going to be installing a new rear camera on our Alliance Delta 294 RK. And I'm excited about this one because not only is this a rear camera, but it has built-in TPMS. We're going to be installing the HaloView BT7 with TPMS. And this should be a very easy install considering the Alliance Delta has factory pre-wire for your backup camera. And what's nice about this is you can use any one. Now, this installation will honestly apply to any travel trailer or motorhome or fifth wheel. It's just going to depend on what wiring you have back there. If you have something that is for a specific company like the Furrion, you may have to take off the mounting plate, but if there's wiring there, it should be really easy to install this. So the first thing we're gonna do is head inside and we're gonna take a look at what's inside of this box. Let's take a look at everything that comes in a box. Again, this is the HaloView BT7 with TPMS. We'll go ahead and we'll open this up. So we have a set of instructions. Let's see here. We've got some batteries, I'm assuming for the TPMS, some adhesion stuff. These are going to be some wire ties, some things to connect our batteries. We have, looks like the screen here. Nice big screen. Signal booster, so we can mount this up in the front bay and then just connect it to a power source. That'll help with our signal boosting for the camera as well as the TPMS, I believe. Another signal booster. Mounting pads for our cameras. Here's going to be our camera. We've got a mount for the screen. So this is if you want to permanently mount it to your dashboard. And a suction cup mount. We've got a lighter plug adapter, I'm assuming for the screen. Here's going to be our 4 TPMS modules for our tires. Pairing cable. Going to be your wire connector for the camera. And we've got some antennas. So this one's for our monitor, another one for the monitor, and this is going to be for your camera. Some mounting screws, USB-C adapter, and another cord. So on the Alliance Delta, there is a cap right here. When you take this cap off, there are some wires for your pre-wire for your backup camera. So these are the wires we're going to be using. Now these holes are from our old camera, so we're going to be filling those in, and then the new camera is going to mount right here. And like I said, we'll fill in any holes that may be exposed. One thing to note is the Halo comes with this power cable. And so one end is going to go into the camera itself, and then the other end connects into the wiring here on the travel trailer. You're also going to notice a green here and a green on the other end. There's two different ways to wire this. And for the way we're working, because you have the pre-wire, you don't need to connect these at all. So you're not going to connect them on either end. Now, the only thing is this cable is really long. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut it so that we can have a very small piece to try to put into the hole, so we don't have just a long excessive amount of wire. On the travel trailer, there's two wires coming out. There's a red and a white. We're going to assume that the red is positive and the white is negative, but there is a way to check this. We're going to use a multimeter. All you need to do is take your red probe and put it to the red wire, and the black probe and put it to the white wire, or whatever colors you have. If you have the red on the positive, you're going to get a positive number on your multimeter. Should be between 12 and 13 volts. If whatever color wire you have the red probe on is the negative, you're going to get a negative number on the multimeter. Let me see if I can film this and show you what I'm talking about. So I have it kind of jimmy rigged to hold it in, but you can see we have the red probe on the red wire and the black probe on the white wire. And if we look at our multimeter, we're getting 13.11 volts, and that is a positive number. Let me go ahead and switch it, and you should see a negative. So now we have the black probe on the red wire and the red probe on the white wire. And if we pull down our multimeter, you can see over here, there is a negative symbol. So that tells us that the white wire is the negative wire. So they do give you a couple of butt connectors. So we're going to use these and connect the wires. We're going to go red to red and white to black. So we have our wires hooked up. Again, white to the black, red to the red. We used our butt connectors, and again, the green is not connected. Now what we're going to do is just kind of dig out a little bit of the styrofoam so that we can fit everything in there, and then we just have to mount the camera. So I marked the location of the screw holes, and I put a little dab of silicone on each spot so that when we drill the screws in, they're going to grab that silicone and help seal the screws. So we have the camera mounted right here. We've angled it down just a little bit. Last thing we need to do is attach the antenna. So the antenna just screws on right here, and you just kind of start it and then go ahead and tighten it down. And then once you have it tightened down, just go ahead and tilt it so it's up like this. Now this RV is only 34 feet long, so the antenna mounted on the camera should be more than enough. But if you have an RV longer than 40 feet, they do have a wired antenna, and you would simply take this little gold piece, wire that onto the camera, and then there's this wire that you would run along the roof up to the front of the RV, and then there's a mounting adapter that you can mount on the front of the RV, and then an antenna so that you can get a much stronger signal. We're not going to use this, but if for some reason I feel like I'm not getting a strong enough signal, we can always add it later. Rather than just filling in the holes from the old camera, I came up with a better solution. I filled in the holes with some silicone to seal them up, and then I 3D printed a mounting plate with PETG. I covered the entire back with some butyl tape, and then I mounted the camera through this little mounting plate into the RV, and now everything is all sealed up and it looks pretty. So the Alliance Deltas come factory pre-wired for the Link TPMS system, but we're not going to be using that. So we pulled off the plate and we stripped the wires, and now we're just going to connect the Halo View repeater up to that wire. We're going to mount it in the bay and see how that goes. So I cut off the excess wire, and we just used some butt connectors to connect it, and we're just going to push it back into this hole. And then we're going to mount the booster right here. So we have it mounted right here, and we just use the 3M tape that comes on the back of it. If we need to, we can always run a couple of screws in there. To program the TPMS sensors, we're going to go ahead and press up here on our TPMS. And then this would be your truck. This would be your trailer. So we're going to press the axle we want to put it on. So we're going to put it on this axle right here. And then we're going to press down here, auto learn. And it's going to say waiting, and we have 15 seconds to go take this and screw it in on the tire. So we'll go ahead and just take our sensor, screw it on, and go check it on the screen. And you can see on the screen, it's saying our PSI is 62 and our temperature is 91. Now, if you want, you can actually manually enter in each sensor and not use the auto learn. On the top of each sensor, there is a number, and you would manually enter in each TPMS number in the right spot. And that would really prevent you from having to run back and forth within 15 seconds. I like the auto learn thing, but there is one issue with the auto learn that I actually didn't realize at the beginning. And that is when you use the auto learn, it is automatically going to set your high and low pressure based on what pressure it detects when you put them on. And all of my TPMS are right now reading between 62 and 65. I actually need to go air up all the tires because I like to run them at 80 PSI based on the weight of the trailer. So we're gonna have to go and manually change all of the high and low pressure. So let me show you how to do that. So you can see here on our tire, it automatically set our high pressure at 75 and our low pressure at 53. 75 is 120% of the 62 PSI and 53 is 85%. So we're gonna go ahead and change those. We'll start with the low, and we're just gonna press on the low right there, and it's gonna be boxed in, and then we're just gonna go to 68. 68, and then press the enter button, and you can see it accepted it, and it's blinking low. We're gonna go to high, and we're gonna press it to 96, because that's 120% of 80, and hit the enter. And now we're gonna have to do that for all of the other tires. Now I'm just gonna grab my air compressor and fill up all the tires to 80 PSI. All the tires are up to 80 or 79 PSI. Let's go ahead and take a look at the screen now. So you can see most of them are at 79, one is at 80, and that's just because as I screwed everything on and off, we lost a little bit of PSI, but we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the main screen now. And you can see here, we've got 80, and it flashes which tire it's looking at. So you can see right here, there's a flashing tire, and it just constantly rotates through each tire and lets you know what it's at. Last thing to do is take this for a test drive and see how it looks as we're driving down the road. So one thing I am noticing right away is the default view is mirrored. So if we look at the screen over here, this here is actually on my passenger side, but on here it's showing up as driver's side, and I don't like that. So we're gonna go ahead and reverse that. So we're just gonna hit this button right here, and then we're gonna go to mirror, and we're gonna put it this way. And so now you can see that is gonna be over on my passenger side, and that is my driver's side. So by the time I was done installing the camera and the TPMS and then setting up the monitor, it started getting a little dark. So I decided to wait until today to take the RV for a test drive and see how the camera reacts on the road. Probably shouldn't have, because today it is like almost 100 degrees already. But I did want to mention one thing before we get going. And that is, when I first turned on the monitor today, I did notice that the TPMS sensors take a little while to register on the screen. When I first turned it on, they were blinking like it wasn't getting a signal. And after about a minute or so, it started picking up one tire, and then the other tire, and then the other tire. And so it took about 4 minutes or so for all of the tires to actually start registering. And this isn't an uncommon thing. I noticed this on one of my old TPMS systems where, you know, you had to kind of get moving for it to know what was going on with the tires and actually register a pressure. So that's not a huge deal, but I did want to mention it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this for a ride down the road and see if we get any kind of static, how the TPMS registers, and if we're having any kind of interference. And specifically what I'm looking for is the clarity of the screen, because years ago we had the Furrion set up, and I honestly hated the Furrion because it was very grainy, and we would get a lot of like in and out as we were driving down the road. And that RV was actually shorter than this one. So what I'm really looking for is to see, do we get any kind of like loss of signal as we're driving down the road? So one thing I'm looking at as I'm driving down the road is I don't like the angle of the camera. As I'm driving, I like to be able to see like almost like the edge of the ladder so that I can see if somebody is tailgating me. Right now, it looks like I'm pointed a little bit too far back. So what I'm gonna do is really quickly just pull over here. I'm gonna climb up on the ladder and see if I can angle down the camera so I can see closer to the back of the RV. So I moved it down as far as it can go. We can always adjust it up a little bit, but I think this is perfect because I can see the ladder here, I can see the shadow of the bumper, and that would really give me a good vantage point if somebody is right here. It'll also really help me when backing up to know how close to something is behind me. Let's take it for a drive. So we've only been driving about 25, 30 miles an hour. So right now we're gonna go out here onto State Road 70 and get up to about 60 miles an hour and see if we have any kind of interference, because a lot of times the faster you're going, you know, the more interference or the more choppy the video is going to be. So far, I'm very impressed. I really do like being able to see what's going on behind me. And I also like the fact that you can see the TPMS all on one screen. I don't have to have multiple screens up here, and the fact that it's all right there and you can see everything that's going on. Up till now, we've been using the tire minder system, which is great, but I use the one that's in the Apple CarPlay. And the thing about that is, unless I put that on my big screen, you don't know. You're just waiting for an alert. So we're up at 60 miles an hour right now, and the image looks really good on the screen. I'm not seeing any kind of real lag. It's not very choppy. It's like a normal rear view camera. And again, like I said, I do really enjoy seeing this up here where you can see what's going on with the tires. It would be nice to see a feature where you can see all 4 tires at the same time with the TPMS. You know, right now you can see it's just scrolling through each tire. It only scrolls through for a couple of seconds and then moves on to the next one. But it would be nice where I can see all of the tires at the same time. The only thing with that is, if you were to do that, you would probably either take up too much of your rear view screen, or you're not going to be able to see the numbers. And when you look at it right now, you can see that the font for the PSI is pretty large. It's very easy to see as you're driving down the street. But it'd be nice if maybe in the software, they would give you that option where, you know, yes, you can right now adjust, you know, like how the brightness is of that, but maybe have something where you could have the option to have all the tires listed down like this. I don't know if that's something that's possible. I guess it really depends on what you like. You know, everything really does come down to a give and take. I definitely would rather see larger numbers than see all 4 tires at the same time. Okay, I'm gonna pull over here for a second in front of our house before we back down the driveway. I just wanted to say I'm very impressed with this screen. First of all, the screen is nice and large. It doesn't really obscure my view in the place that I have it on the dashboard. I mean, I have it right in the middle of the dashboard. Eventually, I'd like to be able to attach like a screen light up on like my mounting system that I'm using. But where I have it, it's perfect, where it's not really obscuring my view, but it's large enough that you can see everything that's going on. Like I said, I really like the positioning of the TPMS so that you can see everything all at once. The only thing that I would say is kind of annoying is the parking lines. I don't know if you can turn them off. Quickly looking through the settings, I haven't figured it out. I'll have to go into the manual. If I do find a way to turn it off, I will leave a little description here on the screen, but I don't know if you can. If you have this, let me know down below in the comments section if you can actually turn off the parking lines. It would be nice to turn off the parking lines as you're driving down the road and just turn them on when you need them. I know you can move them around, but I don't know if I can actually turn them off. But overall, the screen is great. The camera is great. I'm not seeing a lot of lag. I'm not seeing any kind of graininess. In the past, some of the different wireless cameras we've used were very grainy, up to the point of where it was like almost unusable because it was really grainy or glitchy. And no matter what speed I was going, there wasn't any kind of glitching out. So I really am happy with that whole, you know, aspect of this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to back down the driveway, and we have a long driveway to back down. And this is where this camera is really going to come, you know, into play for me, because like I said, for me, the backup camera is really necessary for exactly that, backing up. Yes, it's nice to see as you're driving down the road, but it's really important for me to have something so that when I'm backing up, I know I'm not going to hit anything. I figured I would show this to you because right now we want to pull the RV down on a very tight spot so that we can dump our tank. And this is a really tight spot. And without a backup camera, I would really have a hard time with this, but it's nice to be able to have my side view mirrors. Also, I still have the backup camera in my truck so I can see the reaction of the trailer itself, and then also see exactly where I'm at behind me. I mean, I'm literally parking right next to the other RV, and you know, this is really, really helping. Before I get into what I think of this camera, I should say that HaloView did provide us with this backup camera and screen for the purpose of this review. Now, they don't get to see the video at all ahead of time. They don't have any say in the content, and we're not affiliated with them in any way. We don't make any money unless you use our Amazon links down below. So this is just for us to give you our honest opinion of this camera. Now, with that being said, I will say I am very impressed with the HaloView camera. We have tried a lot of different wireless backup cameras over the years, and honestly, they all stunk. We had the Furrion one on our original Grand Design, and like I said, it was very grainy. It would constantly like lose communication, where all of a sudden like things would go blank, and that for me is a safety issue. I also tried some of the cheaper ones on Amazon, and none of them gave us good results, which is why I ended up actually switching over to the wired version of a backup camera that you can hook up on your Ford. The problem with that camera, though it is great, is it only gives you views when you go in reverse. If you want to actually watch what's behind you as you're driving down the road, you have to manually go onto your console and switch it over. And at that point, you can't see your map, you can't see your radio, you can't see anything because you're looking at the camera. So having this where it's the whole time going down the road is really beneficial. Another thing that I really like about it is the screen is honestly portable. Because they give you the option of either using a cigarette lighter adapter or USB-C, that means that you can take it into your RV and use it as like a camera to see what's going on behind your RV while you're in your campsite. Because you can, as I said earlier, also get other cameras. So you can put side mount cameras and everything else and have a four-way view of everything going on around your RV while you're in a campsite, because you can bring the monitor inside. I also really love the integration of the TPMS. I didn't honestly think I was going to like that, because I'm like, I already have a TPMS system, and it has its flaws, but why have something else? Until experiencing this, and I'm able to look at a screen and not only see what's going on behind me, but also get to see all of my tires scrolling through, and I don't have to like pull up a separate app. The other way to do it with the TPMS, if you don't have it integrated in, is have a second screen, and that's more things in my windshield. I'm trying to eliminate things in my windshield, not add things. So I think that this camera is a great setup. I love the integration of the TPMS, and as you saw, driving down the road, you don't really have any lag. It's not grainy at all. I was driving 60 miles an hour, and there were no issues with it. Everything works perfectly with it. And I'll leave a link for it down below, because I'm pretty sure that you can also get additional TPMS sensors if you have more tires. I know they have a 4 version and a 6 version, but when you look on the screen, you can add a lot more. So I'm sure if you go to their website, you can also, purchase extra TPMS sensors for maybe your truck and other axles on your trailer. Now, as far as price, this is where it might get a little sketchy for some people, because a quick Google review or looking on Amazon, it is retailing for $599, which is kind of a steep price until you consider what you're getting with it. Because if you were to buy like a Furrion backup camera with a 7-inch screen, you'd be looking at about $300 or so. And then a TPMS sensor is also going to cost you $300 to $400. So in the end, you're going to be at about the same price, or possibly even saving money. And then when you add in the fact that I think the resolution on this is much better than the Furrions that we had in the past, I think it's a much better value than having those two separate things, and then adding in the fact that you only have to have one screen. So overall, I would highly recommend the HaloView B7 with TPMS. And honestly, if you're going to buy a backup camera, I would personally never drive an RV without having TPMS, why not have it all together? So like I said, I will leave links for everything down below. Let us know down in the comment section, have you been looking for a backup camera? Because if you're looking for a wireless one, I'm going to tell you, this is the best one that I have ever tried. Now, while you're down there in the comment section, please do us a favor. Hit the like button on this video. That's going to do two things. Number one, it does help build our channel, which we greatly appreciate. But more importantly, it's going to let us know what kind of videos you guys are looking to see. And until next time, happy camping.